Yo, so the last video I made was talking about just normal rental properties. I want to talk about the different kinds of rental properties. I'll talk about two of them since I have experience, but if you buy a house, you can do an Airbnb. And if you have an Airbnb, you can do like a rental arbitrage, or you can just hire a manager. I'll talk about both of those. You can rent your house to an insurance company. You can do like traveling nurses. You can rent the rooms like by themselves to separate people. You could do a corporate lease. You could do a halfway house or three-quarter house, depending on how many bedrooms and bathrooms you have. There's actually a lot of ways that you can actually rent a house out. You could do corporate leases. They already said I might have. So I'm gonna talk about Airbnbs and renting to insurance companies because I've done that before. So Airbnbs, you can do arbitrage. So arbitrage, let's say you have a house and you find an Airbnb host, or they approach you and you pretty much just rent it to them like you would a standard rental. Maybe you increase the rent by a little bit. And then they furnish it, they run it, everything they make on top of the rent is their money. So you're pretty much 100% hands off. The other way you can do Airbnb is by hiring a manager, right? So you have your property, you furnish it, you put everything into it. Like you furnish it, all the bedding, all the kitchen stuff, everything. You're responsible for all that. And then a manager, you pay them like 20% usually, and they take care of everything. Or you can do it yourself if you want to do that. I didn't want to do that. So the second way, other than Airbnb, that I'm familiar with is renting your house to an insurance company. Most of the time, an insurance company is going to reach out to you and they're going to say, hey, would you do a short-term lease on this property? We have some people, it can either be a house fire, a flood, something's wrong with their home and it's getting repaired and they need to live somewhere else for 3 to 6 months. And obviously no one wants to live in a hotel because that sucks, right? So insurance companies will rent it. They'll usually pay up to 25% more. They're actually very flexible. I didn't know this. The first time I did it was, I think, a year or two ago, and they approached me. They were going to give me like $1,900 for a house that I was usually getting like $1,500 for, and I was like, yes, let's do it. Where do we sign, right? So that was cool. It worked out great. And then after I did it, I was like, hey, I should have like asked for more, right? So this time around, I was like, you know what? I want, instead of $500 more, I want like $700 more a month on top of my $1,500, right? And then I want a non-refundable cleaning fee. I want non-refundable. I like added on all these fees, and they're like, okay, let's do it, right? So negotiate if you ever do something like this. And there's a few different companies. I've worked with 2 different ones. You can reach out to them and try to get on their list. That's not usually how it goes. They usually pretty much just, depending on where the people live, they try to find them a house in that area. You might be able to get away with renting it to them for like a short amount of time, but most of the time they just want to rent it for 3 to 6 months and move on. The one thing to be careful with though is the only time I'll do these is if it's like a weird rental season, right? So the only reason I'm doing it now is because everyone's dying with coronavirus and no one's looking for rentals, right? In Royal Oak. Or maybe they are, but not in the price range that I want, right? So I'm gonna rent it out 3 to 4 months. And then once that hits, we're gonna be in the middle of summer. In the middle of summer, what is it? I think the word. The demand is always super high, right? And stuff moves really fast. So you can get top dollar for your rental, right? So that's why I chose to do it. If I was in the middle of summer, right, June, July, and they wanted to do a 6-month rental, I'd be like, hell no. Maybe if they like doubled it, so instead of paying like $1,500, they paid like $3,000, I might do it. Because then you get into December, January, and that's not the most ideal time to rent a property. So that are kind of just some of the different rentals, and I guess the 2 that I'm really most familiar with, other than just like the standard normal rental that we were talking about in the other videos. So I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, let me know.